You can study in the morning, you can study at night. You can study outside by a campfire light. You can study with the Rabbi.
Hi, it's David, the Worldwide Reb. I got another question that I wanted to try and address with you today. It comes to us from, I think it's Joaquin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Here's his question. I've seen many of your videos and I wanted to ask you a question about conservative Judaism. Is it similar to modern Orthodox? My question is, will the conservative movement be more liberal or lead more towards modern Orthodox? Also, does the conservative movement recognize tzitzit? Thank you. Hope you can put that answer in a short video. Well, Joaquin, I'm happy to try and put that answer in a short video, although I have to start by saying I am the least qualified person to talk about conservative Judaism. I've often joked that I'm not a conservative rabbi. In the real life, I just play one on the bimah. There are some really amazing conservative rabbis who were ordained by the Jewish Theological Seminary, members of the Rabbinical Assembly, neither of which apply to me, but really amazing rabbis that I would encourage you to reach out to learn more about conservative Judaism. My personal favorite is Rabbi Menachem Creditor. You can find him all over the internets. I promise you he's out there and he's worth looking up. But I'll give you my 2 cents. So, what is conservative Judaism? Conservative Judaism, in many ways, is the middle child. It is trying to bridge the gap between personal autonomy and religious obligation, or divine obligation, if you will. And being in the middle means that it's a little muddy, and it's very unclear. And so questions like, does conservative Judaism recognize tzitzit? Well, sure it does. Of course it does. In fact, conservative Judaism encourages us to wear tzitzit all day long. Certainly if you're davening, if you're studying Torah, during services to wear a talit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all conservative Jews do it. Because unlike in Orthodoxy, obligation is tempered by personal autonomy. And so we don't just take the entire buffet and eat. It's much more of a choose what feels right for you. We do talk about obligation and the importance of obligation, but I think that for conservative Jews, and in fact for liberal Jews in general, what's important to think about is what is the source of that obligation. If it's not from some supernatural divine being, obligation can still be there, it just comes from within, or perhaps from the community or the family. Conservative Judaism in some ways leans toward modern Orthodoxy, but in many other ways leans toward more liberal traditions, Reform, Reconstructionist. And if you ask me, in my humble opinion, conservative Judaism is really sort of splitting down the middle. And that I don't see the movements hanging around much longer. I see traditional Judaism and liberal Judaism. Now that's different than what they have in Israel. In Israel they have Orthodox Judaism and secular Judaism, with little a sprinkle of Masorti, of conservative Jews and Reform Jews, or progressive Jews as they're called. I think in America what we're going to find is we're going to have a group for whom halakha, Jewish law, is the most important thing, and a group of Jews for whom personal autonomy is the most important thing. My hope is that however we split, that we always hold on to the teaching of Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, who was a teacher in the conservative movement, who said that the past should have a vote but not a veto. And that is to say that even if personal autonomy is most important to you, don't forget about the past. Don't forget about our traditions. Hold on to them and allow them to have a voice, be part of the conversation when you're making those personal choices. So there are lots of other people, as I mentioned, that you could learn a lot more from on conservative Judaism. My 2 cents is that we're kind of in the middle. It's very hard to define yourself when you're in the middle. And I think in part that's why the conservative movement, or at least the institutionalized conservative movement, is struggling a little bit, because we haven't really been able to say, this is what we are, this is what we stand for. It's time for us liberal Jews to do that, whether or not we call ourselves conservative, whether or not we align with any particular affiliation. But knowing who we are, knowing what we stand for, and being proud of that is key to the success of your own personal tradition and also the flourishing of the Jewish people. I hope that answered a little bit of your question. Feel free to go over to worldwidereb.com, www.worldwidereb.com, and submit another question. I'd be happy to try and answer it. Have a great day.
Now that I've had my say, let's not waste the whole day. Let's talk some Torah.